No.
Hello and welcome to the Slightly Odd
No,
Agency's
no,
No Agenda AGM.
I've renamed it. I've renamed it.
Oh, I'm not actually plugged in. Look, this is
Is
how
it?
organised I am.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
actually hear you because I'm not actually plugged myself in. Bear with.
Bear with.
That's the problem. There's no agenda. When there's an agenda, it will say things like plug in.
Well, it might.
You'll have to talk. You'll have to talk.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I've renamed it. The
Oh, yeah.
the very so ad agency. Yeah, it's all right. It's a so.
It's all right.
The slightly odd. Agency.
So what?
Yeah, so what?
The so.
So what? Who cares? You and I.
So what is the? So tell us about the agency launch.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The agency launch.
We're going to compete with Saatchi and Saatchi. I've decided it's very easy.
Yeah.
Basically, we'll just wing it, as we always
Okay.
do. If anybody wants any help on anything,
yeah,
we're there to help you.
Go to Saatchi and Saatchi.
Go Saatchi and Saatchi.
So basically, we've done quite a few lives. We've done our Random Dialogues on Radio show. We've done the 8 show. And this today actually is your own. This is for you, Jason Arbiter. This is number 52 of Random Dialogues. This is more of a serious one today to get to know a little bit more about you, really. I thought, let's do a proper one with you.
Okay, I'm a Scorpio. I'm 52. I've never drunk Coca-Cola. I did lie once and tell people I've got 3 nipples, which was a complete lie.
Okay. I'm going to just show a picture that you've done recently. Look.
Hello.
You.
That was me.
So tell us about your picture.
Okay, so sometimes in front of the TV when I'm completely bored, I'll just pick up some felt tip pens and colour in. Like it's more meditative, isn't it? Just good fun. Just draw some shapes, just fill them in.
So anyone could do that.
Oh, unbelievably anyone and better. It's just literally just having a bit of fun with some felt tips and a piece of paper.
Where did you learn your skills, your art skills? Because you're very artistic and creative.
I don't know if when I was I think I was about 5 or 6. I remember. I don't know. Maybe I made it up. I'm not. When you get those memories and you're not too sure if it's made up or it's real. Most of my life is like that. So I think I was in my infant school, and I had a piece of paper, and I was just drawing. And the teacher said to me, "Oh, I draw a house or something," and it was, if I remember rightly, once again I might have made it up. The house was upside down. I drew it upside down. And that kind of obviously interested me. And I haven't really stopped doodling ever since.
Okay, I'm going to share another one of yours.
Obsessively.
Okay, here's another one of your pictures. I found your recent pictures. What's this?
That is where I live. There was a church. And this was first lockdown. I can't remember. They're all the same for me now. And so I took some photos of it, and I started to draw it, and it came out like that.
But you seem to do things very, very quickly, and they're amazing.
Well, I think it is. Do you know what it is? Is just experience. I'm afraid of most things in my life, like my own shadow and everything else. But I kind of like, when it comes to a piece of paper or a canvas, it doesn't really faze me because that's all I've ever done. So yeah, it's more confidence. I'll just get on with it. Listen, honestly, 99 drawings I do are pretty rubbish, and that one out of that 100 is okay, and that's what you kind of see. I mean, but beside me, I won't show you, but I've got mountains of just old drawings that I end up throwing away.
Have you ever drawn You're Scared of Your Shadow? Have you ever done that one?
I probably have in as you know, I'm in between thinking about doing like a little illustration book, either printed
Yeah.
or
Don't say the name of
online.
it though. We've
We
bought the
can't say.
URL. No.
Yeah, we can't say. So that
Will
would probably
the
to get into it.
will the So agency be launching it?
Yes. I never thought about that actually. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You
I
have to
think
start somewhere.
what's the agency called again?
The Slightly Odd Agency.
The Slightly Odd Agency.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's. I think that encompasses you and I quite well.
And
Oh,
Woody
hello.
Allen.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you the thing about drawing portraits, self-portraits, especially, is the reason I don't get many commissions to draw portraits, or when I'm asked to do portraits, I generally say no because they come out like that.
I loved it. I love that
Um,
picture.
and I don't realise it's probably a lack of experience or knowledge when drawing portraits that I always elongate them.
Yes, it's long, isn't it? I like it.
Yeah, I've always elongated it. I've always done self-portraits all my life, purely because no one else would sit there for me. And listen, if Rembrandt could do it, why I could do it also.
And here's another one. Look, I've got 4. This is the 4th
I'm
one.
not upset. That's not me.
Oh, is it not you?
No,
Oh,
no,
I thought it
that's
was a
a
self-portrait.
very good friend of mine's puppy. He's whippets. And
So you do quite a lot of portraits, don't you, for pets?
yeah. I mean, it's a good money spinner. No, it's really enjoyable. You can't, I suppose, get it kind of. You can't insult people when you do portraits. People want really smooth, beautiful, nice pictures nowadays of themselves, and I'm not prepared to compromise on
Well,
that
no,
one.
but then I think if you've got the odd agency, you're going to attract odd people who do not
Yeah,
want necessarily that kind of thing.
I mean, there's many millions more better artists than me who do it, because they're doing it day in and day out. But I always thought if I was going to do it, I was going to be as honest as possible, and maybe sometimes too honest. That's why
But
when I
it's
do self-portraits, I'm not that really fussed. I'm not going to go, I'm going to make myself pretty. I've got a big nose. I've got big teeth. I'm a skinny guy. I've got crooked eyes. I'm not particularly good looking, and so I might as well be honest about it.
it's brilliant. It's great.
You might as well be on. I'm not going to draw myself a Brad Pitt-esque and people, and I've had it in the past. I've had it in the past, and not a lot. I mean, people say, "Oh, can you make me look 10 years younger?"
So who would be your ideal person to draw for? To do
I
a
think
portrait
just
for?
somebody who would just generally say, "Draw me. Do not worry." But
Let's go for it.
honestly, it's unless you're a worldwide famous portrait artist, unless you're the Jenny Savills of this world, or the late great Lucien Freud, who could get, and many others that I probably don't know, who are so good, people are okay about it. But I'm not one of those guys.
So if I ask you, so with these little videos, if I said to you, where are you sort of called to make a difference with what you do? What do you think with everything you do?
Inspire. I mean, it's pretty cliche. I mean, it's really cliche. I hate cliches. But when I taught people to draw, to or paint, whatever, to see their enthusiasm, and then going from one stage to the next stage, it is really. I mean, you know yourself that you've taught many children and adults, and that moment, that sort of like spark when they go, "Oh, crikey, I get it now."
Yeah.
And then going from when it's not a chore into it's actually enjoyable. I mean, I'm doing something at the moment professionally in my day job, and I'm relearning a particular skill, and I find it so difficult. It really bugs me. It hasn't got to that stage where I go, oh, it's second nature, and then it becomes enjoyable. And when you do, and I think certain people at certain ages, obviously, they get to their lifestyle, and I go, do you know what? I've done everything. I'd like to go back to drawing or painting. That's when you kind of, those are the people. I wouldn't want to teach a GCSE or an A-level kid who has absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. You know, just because they're pushy parents. Not that many pushy parents want their kids to do art, sadly.
Yes,
but,
I feel the same. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
about
think
maths and English, I feel like I don't want to teach maths and English. I just feel like it's not what I want to do. I want to be interested in the child and what they're interested in and be guided by it. Same as you, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, if somebody wants to sit there and learn how to draw clouds, as an example, I will sit there and do it with them. Not so much teach them, but do it. I mean, when I taught, I've actually sat down, and it's a good excuse for me to draw at the same time, or paint at the same time. And then once again, that little moment when they go, oh, wow, I can do it. And then then I say, well, you're on your own now. You don't need me. You don't need me
just
at
shone
all.
away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
here's a picture actually that we shared on a previous show from your upcoming book. We shared this another one. Do you remember that one?
Maybe it's all too personal, those ones. Yeah,
but we did share them before though.
Oh, okay. Because I kind of like to do illustration. Illustration is a different kind of technique, I think, than fine art drawing. You know, there's something more in it. I've never really known the difference between illustration and drawing or painting or design, to be honest. But something like that's my illustration.
And in terms
and you're going to ask me what it's about, aren't you? And I'm not going to tell you.
No, I was going to say I had another thing to show. Actually, I've just looked through our previous banners, and also your interests in cactuses.
Kettles. I love them. I love cacti and succulents. They're just so cool. You don't.
And this is a recycled one, isn't it?
Yeah, and now I've got to say, I'm going to take a new picture of it. It has gone crazy in it because it's its own like climate in there, and it's always warm, and it's always slightly damp in there, so you don't need to water it or anything. And those ones I've had growing in my conservatory just normally, normal soil, and it doesn't do much. Put it in that little guy, and boom, it's going crazy. So my
kettle in a cactus in a kettle. So, I think it's.
I've got a better one coming up soon. Absolutely.
Okay.
We got a fish tank about 4 or 5 years ago, and we had some fish in it, and I've been waiting for them to die.
Put some plants and cactuses.
So, one's unfortunately, one of them died the other day. There's one left, and we'll wait for them to die. I'm not going to kill it.
No, hurrying it along.
yes. Come on, I want to use it, so I'm going to take out all the water, clean it all up, and because it's got a light on it, proper light.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to clear it all out, do everything, and make it a little desert in there.
So what would it be, like a cactarium?
Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Don't know.
It is now.
It is now because we are the odd agency, and we come up with names. Absolutely. We come up with creative names.
So that's what. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to do that in the next lockdown.
Okay, and on the side also, your main thing is your jewellery.
Yeah. I don't talk about that too much, right? Yeah.
No, well, it's your show today. You see, this is your show.
Well,
you.
Show. 33
no, but I know. But I wanted to make this I wanted to kind of properly create a number 52 video for you.
All right, well, I've been doing that
Was
for
this
about
50? No, it's 51. Sorry, 51.
yeah, I've been doing it for about 34 years. In all parts of the trade now. I just have my own little business, slowly, trying to get somewhere with it. www.jewellery.co.uk. And
I'll put it all in the chat.
Well done. It's really difficult because I'm not a big guy in the big world. I'm a very small little fish in a massive pond, trying to get on. Next year, I've got to say, is the deciding thing if we're going to continue it or not.
Yeah. But there was a story you shared, and I just really found it very moving about how you sort of started off really in the trade and when you were younger. And I think you were you started off in someone else's jewellery house, and you sort of making stuff.
Well, no, I was, I mean, how you start, there's a couple of ways you start within my industry. You either go into the workshop and learn the nuts and bolts of how jewellery works, or you go into the retail and do it that way. I started in the workshops as well,
I know.
a diamond setter. I mean, I wasn't brilliant at it, I must admit. I did it. I think I started when I was about 17 or 16. I can't remember. In a very hostile environment of a workshop. And I did my apprenticeship, I think, maybe just under it, of diamond setting, and it started. The company started to change direction, and I worked on. I think he got rid of a lot of his workshop guys because they were all blokes then. He made them redundant or whatever, and we got on quite well. I mean, he was a very hard, tough guy, but he was a good guy. And he said, "Do you want to go and work in one of the shops?" Because I used to do a bit part-time in the shops at the same time, because it was very handy then when the clients used to come into the shops, if you knew how things worked, they loved it, because you were showing them more than just trying to sell them something. You could tell them how it really put together and how it was set, and that, in those days it was quite useful. So I started to do that, and then when the manufacturing side of his business changed, I went into the retail, and I slowly morphed from a long-haired layabout diamond setter into a layabout retail assistant. I kind of, as time moved on, I just moved up within the company, and I did that for about 8 years, I think, and met some really good people. Got a lot of experience because it was a different side of the industry I learned. So that now I know, I came out of that knowing two sides of the industry, which most people don't do.
No.
It's quite, I mean, I know a lot of people in workshops, my friends in workshops, they have never had the opportunity or the want to sit in front of a client in a suit, in a nice, clean shop, and have to go for it, and vice versa. The people in the retail, they go into the workshops, but they don't really understand what they're doing. They just go, "Oh, can you do this for me?" And there's no real understanding. And then the workshops go, "Well, no, it's not going to work." I'm in the middle of that. I go, "Yeah, I know how it's going to work, but you still got to do it, even if you don't think it's going to work." I mean, I'm doing more technical stuff now. But yeah, so I did that, and then after about 8 years, where I worked in a particular area in London, there was a very famous street full of jewellers. There was always things going on which I got kind of uncomfortable with. lots of
Yeah.
robberies, armed robberies, and there was a big spate of those at that time. I had a couple of incidents. I had friends who had far worse incidents than me, and you know, at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, when you've got your front door open, your shop door open, it's pitch black, and at that time there was no security. It was quite frightening.
That's
At
frightening.
the time, I mean, it really was, and and I worked with a lady for years, and it was not fun. It was not fun. I just thought, I don't want to do it anymore.
That's horrible. I never thought about that properly.
Yeah, it was quite popular at the time. I mean, I remember getting phone calls saying, "Oh, by the way, a car's gone straight into the shop window and pulled out sledgehammers and things like that, and this person's been tied up and gun through at his face." I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it did happen every so often. And being of the nervous disposition as I am, I went, I can't do it. I won't do it. So I kind of went back. Then I left that, and then I started to do another part of the industry, which is even more niche. I did that for a good 20 years.
Did you just use the word niche?
Yes, I did use the word niche.
Yes.
It was a really niche part of the industry that
Wow.
not many people did.
Right.
And yeah, it was fun. I learned a lot. I had to be done. I wouldn't go back into that part because it's changed a lot. There's no point explaining it because it's quite uninteresting and a bit dull. But yeah, so I did that, and then I was made redundant. Of course, that's just what happens in life. And then this is where I'm at now. I wake up and thought, well, what am I going to do? I've got all this experience. I could either go and work for another jewellery company, but they didn't really need me because they could pay somebody half the price than me and get the same kind. So I thought, well, I might as well do it for myself. Get paid a quarter of what I could get paid. So instead of that half, I actually get quarter and sleepless nights. So I don't know where the fun is in that, to be really honest. And one day I will wake up and go, that was a rubbish idea. But I don't want to get to a point in my life and that I'll be lying there on my deathbed and go, I regret not doing my own business. I want to say, okay, I gave it a go.
It's tough. It's really tough running a business, isn't it?
It's flipping horrible. It is horrible. The upsides of it is when you do meet some real. I mean, I've had a few clients over the last couple of years who are absolutely lovely, really, really, really good people, and in fact, 99.9% of them are. I think it's one of those kind of laws of attraction that I attract that kind of person that I'm going to get on with.
Absolutely, and the people that would like a portrait that's not perfect because it's not about that's not the right person for you, is it? And I think it's learning that, isn't it? Learning that you can't please everybody, and why should you please everybody?
I've spent many years, I say, within the retail, and you sit there and you've got to bite your lip. The public are really difficult people. I get it because I'm the public now and then. And they make demands that sometimes are just impossible to meet.
Yeah, my dad used to have a shop, and there was a guy working in the shop, and would get customers coming in. And the guy would have to go out the back because he was having a FO coming on. He'd be like, I'm having one, Mike. I'm going to have to go out the back before I tell him to do it. To FO in a minute.
I used to work with somebody, and we used to sort of like have to walk away. There were times where I used to work with these two people, my favourite people I've ever met, I think, and we got on really well most of the time. And we would have to, if we weren't. I think one of my colleagues used to say, "Jay, I can see that you're not getting on. Do you want me to kind of take over?"
Yeah.
And I'm going, yeah, because I'm going to belt them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, 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 very rare, but you do get it, and you just feel so. That's why if I ever talk to people, especially if they're in the retail, unless they're being real silly, you kind of go, they all they want to do is do their job, either well or not well, make a living. They don't need some jumped up, entitled human being walking in and going, "This is what I want." Nobody should ever be spoken to like that. I mean, I'm guilty. I am guilty of doing it sometimes. I mean, I had to speak to someone on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and they just weren't getting it, and I felt myself losing it, and I
Right.
knew that they were losing it, and I did apologise. I said, "I'm really sorry that if I stepped out of order, but you can understand where I'm coming from, but I apologise." But I think I've had clients, not personally, well, yeah, half personally, that really entitled because they're spending
Yeah.
bags load of money. You really ain't important. I mean, even that's when I've worked for other people, and then I've had it a few times working. And when I said, "Right, I'm the boss, I can." I also now that because I own my own company, and it's just me. I'm not a big firm. I don't walk around
Yeah.
going, "I'm a governor," but I sometimes still have to bite my lip because I want to do a good job. But I recently had somebody, and they were being ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and I was never ever going to get the job. And I just had to say,
Yeah. And
I
actually, you
don't
don't want a
think
job
we,
like that either because it's such a
yeah, I
personal
don't
thing
think
you're
we're going to get
doing.
on. Yeah, you know,
No.
it's really important whether you're whatever you're doing, whether you're selling whatever it is, a drawing, or I can only speak for myself, whether a drawing or a piece of jewellery or whatever. Um, you know, just try and be a bit more understanding. And if those two people click, then that's a relationship that's going to last forever. I mean, I've had clients since for years, absolutely for years, and they will always come back to me. Whatever it is, they will phone me up. Are you still doing jewellery? Or are you still doing this or still doing that? Because I don't talk to them like they're bleating idiots, and they don't talk to me like that. And it's a really, really important, and I don't think a lot of people understand that.
I think with the odd agency, I think the stuff we've learned is people, if I bought a portrait from you, if I had an animal and I bought a portrait from you, if I didn't like you, I'd look at that portrait and not like it. It wouldn't be that I didn't like
Absolutely.
you are, to everyone, this whole branding but you are your brand, aren't you? You are your colours, your brand, and actually
I,
the people are buying into you. And if I was going to buy jewelry, when I bought my jewelry, I remember, not from you, but I didn't know at the time, but when I bought it, I now have a relationship with the company.
and I've always said
And
that.
I can pop in, I can see them, they'll chat to me, and
And
I have such a nice feeling about it because of who I
I,
bought it from.
when people say to me, because I always get, I use my own jeweler. I said, stay with them. Because
Yeah.
one, there's enough business in this world. I'm not greedy. Unless they've said to me, oh, look, I go to my jeweler. I don't particularly like that jeweler. He doesn't do a very good. I said, well, okay, then if you want to see if I can help you, I'm happy to help you. Otherwise, if they say, oh, I get on with my jeweler, I said, that's the nicest thing because then I know
Mm.
the jeweler's doing a good job for that
Mm.
person. And I said, stay with them. You don't need me. Just go,
Mm.
let them feed their family.
So I think where you've got to know where you've been in business, you've got to understand all of that because that's like people don't always get that, do they? People are buying, if it's a relationship, people are buying relationships when they're buying something. You go into a
People buy
shop
from
and if you
people.
they do buy from people. And my dad, as I said, had his own shop and people wanted to go in the shop and see him. They wanted to speak to him when they went in and
Yeah,
and still, with the shops on the high street, you've got to have that community relationship, that
oh,
presence, because people are going to
unbelievable.
otherwise go to
Yeah,
Amazon, aren't they? But I suppose with what you've done and what you've learned, it's the same for when someone's got their own business, or they're launching a business, you're listening, you're kind of working out what the colors might be, what the logo might be, what the copy might be. And there's a whole, with the odd agency, if we, with our non-agenda today, but it's kind of coming to that. I think it's like, know your client.
I think that's
build that relationship.
When I first started, I mean, 3-4 years ago now, the question that used to really irk me, that really used to like get my back up, is like, what's your ideal client? And I could never answer it. So, and my, you know me, I'm not the most serious of persons most of the time. I mean, so anyone who's got any money in their pocket and wants something from me, that's my ideal client. But I don't think it is anymore. What I don't want, and I can only speak for myself at the moment, is you don't want a client that you just don't click with. I've had clients who want to spend who need something repaired. It's £10 to do the job. That's how good I am. And I'm like, yeah, because I got on with that person. Okay, fine, it's no big deal for me. I'm not going to go out and look for clients that only want to spend. I'm not that. I always think of the guy or the person, I should say, who sells one yacht for £5 million a year. I'm not that kind of. I'm not that sort of. I want to go. I'm waiting for the big fish to come. They're either the big client or the small client. As long as there is that spark of interest and that communication and getting on, then let's go for it. Let's have a laugh.
And I think for the £10 things you do, that's the little touch points, isn't it? It's the little bits where they're getting to know you, trusting you, liking you, and then and then they'll be an ambassador for you, and then they'll tell their friends about you. So you do those nice things, which sometimes take a little bit of investment and your time. But if you know they're the right customer for you, and you're prepared to put that time in with them and make those little then they're lifetime, clients, aren't they?
There's a friend of mine who is way down the road in success than me. I mean, in a different county. That's how far he is. And he said to me in the beginning, Jay, I would run around. In my industry, we always, I don't know why, for some reason, watch batteries come up. I'd run around for a watch battery, and it basically means the job that you earn £2 on.
Mm.
And he said, that's what you got to do. You got to put your time in.
Literally.
It doesn't matter if it's a little repair for £1 and to earn £1, because you don't know who they know.
Absolutely.
And that's what I would really say to people who, I mean, my industry is very, I'm going to use the word niche again, it's very small. I mean, it's, would I advise someone to start up and do it? No. Definitely. I was asked once, I get quite asked a couple of times actually, to go to either universities and colleges and speak to school leavers. And I recently had it. Someone said, well, would you come along and talk to some school leavers about jewellery? I said, I'm happy to do it, but if you want my personal opinion, I wouldn't recommend it. And that person said, good. At least you can talk to them and say why you wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's quite a cool thing to say. So it's.
Yeah, I think that's a nice little blog as well, is it? Why I wouldn't recommend being something.
Yeah, why I wouldn't recommend doing what I do.
No, but then sometimes we do things and then we work out what we don't want to do to find the things we do want to do. And if you do follow the things you enjoy and just give them a go, they often lead to other things. So for school leavers, actually sometimes to follow something that they just feel.
Unless they've got a real passion. I mean, I don't know how many people go into my industry. I think a lot of people go into it, and a lot of it. When I first started, and I went to work for the firm I worked for, they would employ in blocks like 5 or 6 apprentices on the day, because they knew only one would survive.
Right.
That, I mean, you literally get people coming in the morning and leaving at night. It was all afternoon.
A high churn. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was real turnover. I mean, I can think of loads of examples, but and I think there's other industries like that. But literally in the morning, an onslaught of not of personal banter that most people just couldn't handle. It didn't bother me because I'm quite thick-skinned on that front. And just a really hostile environment, because it was very tense. It's not anymore so much. It's quite. I mean, the workshops now are quite nice and calm. They all wear headphones. They don't. They just get on with it. In my day, when I first started, everybody wanted to fight everyone. I mean, that was how they started. I didn't, but I'm a little guy. But the guys I worked for, massive so-and-sos. And, they'd be sitting what we call their bench for 12, 13, 14 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week, and really pent up aggression. I mean, really. I've seen people go outside and punch and fight and then walk back in as mates. But the really interesting thing about it is that I'd see all that, and then at night time, I mean, we'd swear and shout and whatever, and when we finished at maybe 7, 8 in the evening, there was a pub next door. We'd all pile in there, and we would be like a game. So nobody could, if anybody said anything about our workshop, it'd just be like chairs flying. It was that kind of thing. You don't say anything about our guys. Really loyal to each other on the outside, but when it got back into the workshop, it's like they wanted to get it. It was just a mind screw up. I know there's only a few of us who survived those days, maybe 4 or 5 of us. I still know and see, and they do work for me, some of them now.
Okay.
So yeah, that's really interesting dynamics. But nowadays, yeah, I think I digress. So, yeah, for a lot of people, I've seen adverts as apprentices, I think, go in and they learn the trade, and then they end up doing it for themselves because they think they can get rich quickly. It's very difficult. It's long hours. It's like the restaurant business. It's like the printing business. I know a little bit about. You've got to put your hours in. You really, really have, and it's unsociable as hell. But once you start, the rewards, if that's your thing, are unbelievable. Really, really. I've not seen it yet, but I know how it works, and it really is. And if you're one of these people and you just are in the right place at the right time, and luck is on your side, yeah, you do the hours, but then you don't really have too many financial worries most of your life.
Okay. So in terms of what's your point of the agenda we're at now for our No Agenda AGM?
So I've just waffled on, haven't I?
For the slight no, because this is your story. This is for you. The slightly odd agency. How do you think now? So if we were to finish now, what are you going to take away from what you've done so far for an agency?
Yeah, easy is just make people a bit more aware. I mean, my little journey in my own business now, because remember beforehand I worked for somebody, I just sat there and was told what to do, but now I've got to do it myself. I think you've got to be consistent in your branding. You've got to be on the ball. You've got to be, I think the word is consistent.
Yeah.
don't, if it's such a passion, don't give in, because every day is going to be an obstacle. There will never be a day where you go, oh, that was easy. I mean, I've not had one of those days, whether it's the phone ain't ringing, and there's lots of those, massive amounts of those at the beginning, or that the phone is ringing and you work for yourself and you don't know how to prioritize. That's what we can kind of. I mean, I don't. We're not coaching. I'm not mentoring. I'm not coaching. There's a billion other people who can do that. That's not what we're about or want to be about. But yeah, we can help them with their art direction, maybe. Bit of copy, maybe, and things like that. But we're not mentor. I am not a mentor. I can say, if someone says to me, well, what do you do? I go, yeah, I can, but I can't. I can't help them with their business strategy because I'm still doing it myself. I ain't got a clue. I wing it every single day. But when it comes to the, I'm really fortunate that when it comes to because when you start your own business, you have to be your own art director, unless you're fortunate enough to have a good petty cash box, and you can hire who you want. I do all my own artwork. I do all my designing myself. I find it laborious sometimes. I must admit, I don't, but happy to do it with other people because it'd be quite interesting.
What would be a vision? I think it's good to have a vision, though, isn't it? I think of everything people do, it's nice to have sort of like just something, not a goal, but just a vision for whatever it is you're doing, even if it's sort of like, and then it keeps you going with those days where it's not perfect. And actually, we hear a lot of, the success stories are the ones you hear, but there's so many that's not true. 90%, is it 90% of businesses fail in the first year? That's
this is it. I mean, I think I'm coming up to my third year in March or something, and I'm just trying to get to that.
Actually, 3 years is a turning point, isn't it? Often, yeah.
Yeah, if I get to 3 years, I know I have to do other things to earn a bit of money, unfortunately. But because I didn't have, when I first started, I didn't have anybody to rely. I didn't have anybody to talk to. Once again, I'm not a mentor. I'm not a coach, but I can. We go to, you and I, we go to lots of networking. That's how we met, and I think the common thread is that beginning journey. And I kind of always go, oh, how did you start? And then we can have a moan about things. That makes my day, hearing how other people are finding it as crap as I am. And I love hearing success stories, but honest ones. I don't want to hear these people go, oh,
you don't want to hear.
Oh God, no! In the first week, I turned over 20 million quid, and now I hire 34 people, and I'm getting an office in Hong Kong. No, I want to hear about how you don't sleep at night, how you cry into how your milky eyes cry into your milky tea in the morning, and that you shake uncontrollably through the night, worrying about how you're going to pay your mortgage. Those are the real stories I want to hear. How the pain is excruciating, but
better.
But then you go, I'll still keep going though.
Yeah.
A good marathon.
There's a lot of personal development, isn't there, with a business? There's a huge amount of personal development.
A good marathon runner isn't a person who does it again for some reason and goes, crikey, that was really painful, but for some strange reason I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. Am I that marathon runner? I don't know yet.
Think about your vision, and think about what would be success for you. What does that mean?
I was asked that recently, and I gave a really stupid, dumbass answer, like I'd like to buy a yacht or something, and something really flippant. as I generally am. And then I thought about it, and I came back and said, can I change my answer?
Mm.
And the answer was, I think success for me is to be able, and I had this other conversation with someone, I said, is to wake up in the morning and go, do you know what, I'm going to have the day off and
Yes.
not worry about it.
Mm.
And I'm gonna go and spend it with my kid or whatever, or and not worry about if the phone don't ring, or that I've got to pay this bill, or I've got to do that, or I've got to keep a client happy. That to me, when you get to that point and go, do you know what? Today I'm going to go and paint, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to turn social media. I'm going to, not talk to anyone. Even if it goes 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, I'll be the one to decide when I want to go back to work, and nothing has changed, nothing has lost, and nothing has gained. That to me is my success.
Yeah.
Because every single morning, as a small business owner, I wake up in panic, in sheer, utter panic and worry, going, okay, what am I going to do? I've got this to do. How am I going? Two worries. How am I going to do it when you get the job? Or then the other side of it is, oh my God, I've got no work. What am I going to do?
Mm.
So, and I think a lot of small business owners have that problem.
Yeah.
A lot maybe will more in the future.
Mm.
So that's my vision for success.
Okay. So the final any other business point is as you've been talking, going back to the first picture we shared with the felt pens, and you said, oh, anyone can do that. You pick up a pen and you can draw that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I would like to invite myself along to learn how to do that.
Okay, I'll teach you.
So if you could put on a little mini workshop for some of us
It's
to
so
teach us
honestly,
how to do it,
it is.
that'd be wonderful.
I could do it in 34 seconds, and I'll put a
Right, well, you
timer
can
on.
teach us another time.
I used to have about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, I used to go to a group. We used to have we still do it. So I have some friends that are still part of this little art group that we did locally, and I'd go every Tuesday night. For the first couple of years, we had a tutor, and I got on about the same age, whatever, and really good. She was amazing, and she knew that maybe I was slightly different level from whatever. Listen, everyone I was with were amazing, and they blow my mind away how good they are. But my art was slightly, I don't know, whatever. And maybe I was more objectional, and I would always fight her because she was a proper art teacher, and I would sit there and go, no, this is how I want to do it, and she'd go, no, Joe, try this. And we would have, and it used to get a bit sort of like tense, even though it was a very relaxed, informal, friendly evening. We'd all have a laugh. But when we clashed, she enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. I don't think anyone else did, but we both got like. And so what she used to say, so I remember when we did this exercise, so she said, I want you to do a portrait, and you have to draw yourself, but in triangles. You can only use triangles. What is the point of that? There was absolutely no point of it at all. Just do it, Jack. And I would say, no, I do this. And then I started to do it. And then I got so into it. And then it did click. Why? And but I had been doing that for years beforehand, but I just didn't realise. I've got a portrait, so I don't know why I've lost it. And I did it, I must have done it when I was like 16, 17. And it was exactly what she had asked me to do, but I'd done it on my own terms. It's just when someone asked me to do it, I didn't want to do it, and that's how I started to do that, and that's where that came from. So you get a piece of paper, Take a photo
Okay.
of yourself.
Phil says he would like to sign up. I reckon, you know what? I
Oh, he's
reckon a
still
few
here. I'm
people.
quite sorry, Uncle Phil.
I reckon a few people would like to sign up for that, Jason. I really do. I think it'd be good to put on. It'd be nice to put on for the odd agency. As an odd agency, we could put it on for the odd agency.
And all you need is a piece of paper, a black felt tip pen, and maybe 3 to 4 colours. You don't need to go out and buy £100 worth of high quality alcohol ink pens. Just if you've got your kids' filters, I nicked my son's
Sharpies.
A Sharpie. I love Sharpies. And that's how I did it. And I've got. Oh, hold your horses. Wow, okay, hold on. I found them here. Hold on. Have a look? I'll show you quickly before everyone goes balls to sleep. So, literally, just mucking about. It's not art.
No.
It's nothing. It's fun.
Well, you can teach us because I wouldn't know how to make a portrait from those felt pens. So,
Did you see the other one? Hold on. Sorry, guys. Just talk among yourselves. Hold on.
So you've been watching. Thank you for watching. This is Random Dialogues 51. So although we've done our 8 show and our Random Dialogues on radio and things like that, this was going to be just a time for Jason just to share his story, to share his stuff. And that's where I want to put it out there more officially. No, can't see that.
Can you not? Are you colourblind? I don't mean that in a really awful way.
It's like one of those dinosaurs.
Can you see what's in there?
No.
My wife can see. Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
There's a vase of plants, of flowers.
Oh, I can see the tulips. Tulips?
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's the. Hold on.
There's
the vase.
Wow. I don't reckon everyone could do that, and I reckon that's very special.
It's easy. Listen,
that's very special.
Easy. If I can do it,
well,
because
you take it, you take. That's where our skill is, isn't it? Where sometimes we think it's easy, but we underestimate our talents. Okay, so thank you for being here today,
Jason. I
Jason.
hope everybody senselessly.
Well, it's your time just to go share your stuff. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we stop?
Oh, loads.
Okay, what's the leave? Anything just you feel like I wish I'd spoken about that, or I wish I had an opportunity to share that today?
I don't know, but I think I've spoken for about 15 minutes non-stop.
You have.
That can't be easy. But I suppose it's easy to talk about yourself, really.
Well, it's your time. This is your story.
I'm going to have a lie down now.
Mm.
I've been sitting in front of this computer all day since God knows when. I haven't got very far either.
We're all going to have a lay down. I'm going to go and stir my bolognese. Can you hear a sawing
What's that noise in the background?
Yeah, that's my husband sawing.
Because you got your floorboards done.
We've got our floorboards done. Yeah, it's so nice having the room done. We're just finishing it off. It's just like, the feeling of having a room done.
Oh, nice.
It's really nice. I have my friends over for dinner now, and
see, that's a skill. I've got friends who can do proper things, proper meaningful things like put cupboards up and shelves up.
And my daughter does all that bit. I look at it and go,
I don't get it. It doesn't. No. I can't comprehend how people do it.
No.
And people go, but you can draw. Yeah, but God blimey, it ain't going to pay my mortgage. If I could lay floors and put cupboards up and do shelves, then I'm off. Then I'll do it. So that's my secret to success. Drawing and painting won't get you anywhere. Being a nice person.
Except if you're Van Gogh. But then that was a bit late for him, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. He didn't have too much of a time with it.
No. All right, then. Well, thank you for being here today.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Where else was it going to go?
Yeah, you got nothing else better to do.
Well, thank you very much for letting me just bleat and waffle on for. Crikey.
It's all right. 54 minutes.
That's not bad, is it?
It's good.
Next time I won't say a word.
No. Well, next time we do our own show, our show. But I thought today we would have you could have a proper
the so-show.
Time.
So-show.
Yeah, but we'll do the so-show.
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 So-show. Can't we just come out with another?